The Wine-Dark Sea by Patrick O'Brien. Read by Robert Hardy. A purple ocean, vast under the sky and devoid of all visible life, apart from two minute ships racing across its immensity. They were as close-hauled to the somewhat irregular northeast trades as ever they could be, with every sail they could carry. They had been running like this day after day, sometimes so far apart that each saw only the other's topsails above the horizon, sometimes within gunshot, and when this was the case, they fired at one another with their chasers. The foremost ship was the Franklin, an American privateer of 22 guns, 9-pounders, and her pursuer was the Surprise, a 28-gun frigate formerly belonging to the Royal Navy, but now acting as a privateer too. She was nominally commanded by a half-pay officer named Thomas Pullings, but in fact by her former captain, Jack Aubrey, a man much higher on the post-captain's list than would ordinarily have been found in so small and antiquated a ship. An anomalous craft entirely, for although she purported to be a privateer, her official though unpublished status was that of His Majesty's hired vessel, Surprise. She had set out on her voyage with the purpose of carrying her surgeon, Stephen Maturin, to South America, there to enter into contact with those leading inhabitants who wished to make Chile and Peru independent of Spain. For Maturin, as well as being a doctor of medicine, was an intelligence agent exceptionally well qualified for this task, being a Catalan on his mother's side, and bitterly opposed to Spanish, that is to say, Castilian, oppression of his country. He was indeed opposed to oppression in all its forms, and in his youth he'd supported the United Irishmen. His father was a Catholic Irish officer in the Spanish service, in everything but the violence of 1798. But far above all he abhorred the oppression of Bonaparte, and he was perfectly willing to offer his services gratis pro deo to the British government to help put an end to it. Now, as a piece of seaweed rose momentarily on the bow wave, Maturin remarked to his companion, "It is a great satisfaction to see the ocean a colour so near to that of new wine." He and Nathaniel Martin, his assistant surgeon, were standing in the frigate's beakhead, the very foremost part of the ship, where the bowsprit reached out, and where the medicos were least in the way, not only of the hands trimming the sails, but of the gunners serving the bow-chasers on the forecastle. The long brass 9-pounders in question were commanded by Captain Aubrey and by Captain Pullings, who were now very carefully aiming their pieces at the Franklin's topsail at a range of 1,000 yards. "The captain does not like it, however," observed Maturin, referring to the wine-dark sea. "He says it is not natural. He admits the colour, which we've all seen in the Mediterranean on occasion, but not the colour and the swell together." The crash of the guns cut him short. Smoke and smouldering scraps of wad whistled about their heads, yet even before they swept away to leeward, Stephen had his spyglass to his eye. He saw a hole appear low in the Franklin's topsail, joining a score of others. To his astonishment, he also saw a jet of water shoot from her lee scuppers, and above him he heard Tom Pullings cry, "They're starting their water, sir!" "What does this signify?" asked Martin quietly. He had not applied to a very valuable source, Dr. Maturin being strictly a land animal, but in this case Stephen could truthfully reply that they were pumping their fresh water over the side to lighten the ship and make it go faster. Perhaps, he added, they may also throw their guns and boats overboard. I have seen it done. A savage cheer from the Surprises showed him he was seeing it again, but not quite all the guns went overboard. As the Franklin's speed increased, her two stern chasers fired. "How disagreeable it is to be fired at," said Martin, shrinking into as small a space as possible, and as he spoke, one ball hit the best bower anchor close behind them with an enormous clang. The sharp fragments, together with the second ball, cut away almost all the fore-topgallant-mast support. The mast and its attendant canvas fell, spars breaking right and left, and the Surprise's bow-chasers just had time to reply, both shots striking the Franklin's stem, before the guns were enveloped in sailcloth, whilst at the same time all hands aft raised the cry, "Man overboard!"
Sample complete. Ready to continue?